Hi guys, Legionella isn't limited to the baby Stockholm it seems, but even government buildings where civil servants work have also been exposed to the deadly bacteria. According to information obtained by the Liberal Democrats, there have been over 130 leaks of raw sewage at government departments over the last year. The worst offender was the Department of Defence with 102 leaks, and the bacteria that can lead to Legionnaire's disease was discovered at a HMRC office in Liverpool. But Health Minister Neil O'Brien said there's nothing to worry about. Have a listen.
To ask you today about Legionella bug infestations and sewage leaks. More than 100 have been detected in the past year in government buildings. The government's called for civil servants to stop working at home and get back to work. But is it safe for them to get back to work?
It is safe for them to get back to work. We have very, very high standards, and I've worked in lots of different government departments, and the buildings have all to a high standard. And we do have a very cautious approach, and of course that's why we monitor all these things. We would never ever expect anyone to work in an unsafe environment. I work in the same environment, of course, so we all want the same things. So absolutely, it is true that there's this register of every single thing that's happened in any government building across the entire country, and all the different issues that there have been over a year. And of course, where you're employing a huge number of people in a huge organisation, there'll always be things that are being fixed all the time. But absolutely, it is safe for people to work in the office if they're civil servants or other public sector workers. And we do always make sure that buildings are all done to a high standard. And that is why we detect these problems and then we fix them.
What? So, in response to this, yeah, we have a register of these problems. Like, your response to raw sewage in offices, Legionella being detected is, yeah, we have a register of these things. Now, obviously, this hasn't been made public because the Liberal Democrats had to request it. I'm not sure how they did, but they requested it in some manner, and they were able to access the information and release it to the public. Why isn't this information made public beforehand? What are the Tories trying to hide here? Like, they've been cutting public services over the last 13 years. This is the consequence of cutting public services. Reducing the amount of money probably done for maintenance or upgrading offices, so that many offices still have out-of-date water systems or sewerage systems. And this is why you end up with problems like this. But instead of actually acknowledging the problem, saying, yes, we have these problems. Yes, we have raw sewage in some offices. Yes, we have. He talked about a register. Yeah, we have a register of these things. Notice the way he responds is not to actually answer the question and say, admit failure. No, we have a register. And this whole thing about, well, you know, it's safe for people to come into the office. How is it safe? If there's raw sewage in some offices, how is that safe? If there's Legionella in some offices, how is that safe? It's not safe. But it's part of this narrative the Tories and their friends in the right-wing media are continually pushing. People need to get back into the office. People who work from home are lazy. There was even an article in the Telegraph, I believe, talking about how people working from home don't really work. They just mess about or watch TV or watch something on the internet that they shouldn't be watching. It's about creating a narrative where people who are working from home are lazy, they're not productive, and they need to be back in the office. And it doesn't matter what's in the office, doesn't matter if it's raw sewage or Legionella, they need to be there. I said before, this is probably because a lot of the Conservative MPs and the people pushing this probably have property portfolios, and they're losing money if people are not going into the office and these offices are not being rented out or not being rented out to full capacity. So the narrative is, yeah, get back into the office. If you're not working in the office, you're not productive. It can also be a control issue. It's some certain managers believe they can control their staff better if they're in the office. But it doesn't actually improve productivity. There's no data to support that. But finally, the thing that he said, well, you know, I work there as well. Does anyone honestly believe that he shares the same toilet as, I don't know, an intern in his department? Is he always there? Probably not. So, you know, the government minister doesn't work in the office, you know, the same number of hours as other people. Probably doesn't even need to use the toilet. Probably goes to the one in Parliament or, I don't know, in his local office. It's not a case of you're going to go into the bathroom and say, "Excuse me, government minister, can I wash my hands while you're there?" It's a ridiculous argument he's trying to make. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.